dribble.
The champ is here. I must be the greatest. The champ is here.
I'm going to continue to stand with the people.
The champ is here.
I will not lose.
I'm a bad man. I shook up the world.
Yes, welcome. You could have been anywhere in the world, but you are here with we. My name is EJ, and I got my man.
MH.
Yes, he is the DB of the show, and we are Black in Sports, giving a voice to the culture that won't shut up and dribble. Here interviewing the best professionals in the game and in the boardroom. Hey, we're covering it all, laughing at it all, while providing a platform to be heard. So you know what we do around this time. We have to introduce and bring in our guests. So you want to work in sports, right? Well, please take out your notes, all right? Because we have the person that you need to listen and pay full attention to, all right? So we're excited to have an Ohio native, all right? He's a lifelong runner, a musician, all right? And he always resides and maintains a commitment, no 0 days, all right? So him and his company is known for building careers in the sports business. So please let's clap it up for president of Teamwork Online, Mr. Davis Filippell. Let's clap it up. That boy good.
EJ, thank you so much. What is the best intro? I couldn't be happier to be here. So fired up to talk with you, EJ and MH. Love the show, and I'm really happy to be here.
All right, man. So let's jump right into it. So how we start our shows, we always ask our guests for a shoot your shot moment. All right. So this is a moment in time. It could have been recently. It could have been back in the days, right? But a time you shot your shot and went for it all. We know a lot of guests try to slide by and say, I always shoot my shot, but we want a specific time where you either learned a lesson, or you got the bag. So please share a shoot your shot moment with us.
No, I'm going to give one. It's great to talk with you both, and really excited to talk about careers in the sports business, talk about just sports in general and the way that the professional opportunities and things that are happening, really close to home are things that folks can take advantage of. I'm going to tell a story about my shoot my shot moment. So Teamwork is a hiring platform that helps connect folks with careers and jobs across the sports industry. And we got invited to a conference. It was not in Vegas, but it was in Vegas this year. I don't think I saw you at this one, EJ, but this was a conference. It was in Salt Lake City. University of Utah was hosting it. It was the Sports Entertainment and Technology Conference, really soon into my tenure as president of Teamwork. And what we were offered to do is share how our platform is helping build careers in sports technology. And I get there, I'm thinking, I'm going to this conference. I'm going to talk, make a few remarks. It was a keynote I was given, one of the first times in this showing. And the keynote they set me up on is in the stage in front of the Utah football stadium. I've got the backdrop of the stadium behind me, got the whole audience here. And here I am trying to kind of share some wisdom of what are the career opportunities that folks are going to find in sports tech. So the short story is that, took the moment, stayed up until probably 2 a.m, kind of crafting the material of what we're going to share with people. Get there. It is 9 a.m. It is hot as heck. I am sweating through my suit. I was wearing this exact same jacket, but through it all had this stage, this kind of screen behind us that is larger than anything I've ever seen my face on before. But the point is that we had something that was really meaningful and something really, really positive to share about how digital marketing, about how analytics, and about how different career paths that are related to technology are things that are really taking off in sports, and doing things such as what we're doing right here of creating new material, understanding where the industry is going. It was a really, really exciting story to tell. And so, stepping out of my comfort zone and being willing to, stand on a sweaty, hot stage while also, really being in front of an audience that I had never met before is something that'll stick with me. And so it's a moment I won't forget, and one I'm excited to share.
No, I love that.
Yeah, that's really cool, man. Where's your love for sports start?
There's two parts to it, MH. There's the love for sports, and then I want to talk about the love for sports business too. I've heard a bunch of people talk. I mean, I'm Ohio native that was an athlete all the way down. I was competing in basketball when I was growing up. I was a swimmer as well. I hit a ceiling in basketball, and so really gravitated towards swimming and running were the ones where I could kind of stretch my legs and compete at a higher level.
Literally stretch your legs.
Yeah, right. I know. This is like running is the thing you do when you run out of other options, right? You just gotta, it's the last one left. But I would say, look, there's just seeing the way that there's such a community, and I saw that growing up in Ohio was something that was real meaningful. I was there. I got the highs and the lows. I've got one of my best friends from high school was on the cover of a newspaper with his jersey in his mouth when LeBron left for Miami. And then on the way back, I was dancing in the streets of Cleveland when he was bringing things back to Ohio, bringing a championship back home. So all forgiven. But the love for sports business really came my first job. I was an inside sales representative for AEG. That's right, EJ. You're shaking your head, right? What do you've met a couple of folks that have come through the gauntlet, yeah?
Oh yeah. That inside sales really is proving ground, I guess we could call it, right?
I thought I was gonna show up and sell tickets for the Los Angeles Kings or the Sparks, or at that time they were connected with the Lakers. And they said, no way, you're the first year here, you don't get anywhere near the Lakers. You don't get anywhere near the NBA or the NHL. And so I sold tickets to the LA Women's Tennis Championship. It's discontinued, but I was calling up folks to come to a tennis tournament that AEG owned and operated. And I remember learning about people who had these really meaningful experiences coming to a game, coming with their family, coming just, having this really impactful time. And I went to the tournament. It was sort of, 3 months into my time working. And I remember meeting some of those folks who I had just spoken on the phone with, just sort of out of the blue, 2 to 3 months later, 3 months earlier, and they had this amazing experience. And it was really sort of seeing that one-to-one connection of what impact being a fan and being in the business of sports can have. That's what really left an impact on me and really kind of brought me back to sports all these years later.
That's really cool. I mean, one of my first jobs out of college or in sports industry was with USA Racquetball, and I learned a lot about sport in general from my time in racquetball. So I definitely understand. Now, EJ mentioned music. I didn't see this from my research, but I did see. Now, did you go to Shaker Heights High School?
I went to Hawken High School. I grew up in Shaker Heights, the town. I had many friends from Shaker Heights. Are you from there, MJ?
I'm not from there, but I know Kid Cudi is, and I know.
That's right.
I know. What's his name? Machine Gun
Kelly.
Are you rapping too? Is that the musician? That's the music part.
I wish.
I mean, you brought it up, man. I'm gonna go down that road, man. I mean, you put out an album, right? Like, let's talk about the album, right?
Well, again, EJ, you're so nice to say it. It was there's a reason that music is not my day job.
Okay.
There's also, but also it's kind of the point of where I really found my footing. I was in graduate school. I went to UPenn for business school, to the Wharton School. And I'm looking at professional opportunities. I'm talking with people who work at a whole variety of different companies. And on Tuesday nights, I would go play at the Raven Lounge. It was a bar in Center City, Philadelphia. They had an open mic. You showed up at 7:30 p.m. and you signed your name on a piece of paper, and they'd let you play for 2 to 3 songs. And it was really something that helped me express and stretch what it's like to be performing. And I'm never going to be on the level that so many people are, both in the sports industry, but also just kind of creating and, being proactive in other ways in whatever professional pursuit you have. And so, me getting up there, I had a guitar, I was singing. I'm a terrible singer, but I was still doing it. And it's just something that really sticks with me. And I think translates, those creative pursuits, tying this back to just people who are building careers, things that are creative pursuits that could be entirely different from the career that you're seeking, whether it's a business job at USA Racquetball or at a sports agency, EJ. I know you've been a part of a couple of those, but whether it's, something that is entirely different, the skills of, putting yourself out there, that's something that I think is really, really impactful. And I encourage folks, we talk to folks who are looking for jobs in sports at all times, and we encourage folks not to shy away from those kind of specific, even if it's unrelated activities. Those are things that make you. And it's really, that's a place to start from my album. That's as far as I'll take it.
Well, and SoundCloud and YouTube, we can go get you listening. So, no, that's a great example, right? Like going out and doing something, because we are more than what we do from, sports is not 9 to 5, but for our day job, right? Mm-hmm. And those other experiences kind of really tap us into like a whole other lane of people, a whole other different mindset. And we grow and we learn from everything. Like even taking it back to, you said that first job where you were talking and cultivating and hearing those stories from the people you saw these tennis events from, it expands you, and each level of, what you do in life prepares you for that next. So, but no, definitely was a cool thing to kind of run up on that as we were preparing for. So what is your favorite song off those tracks that you released? Is it still
a song called Back to Ohio? That's my
Back
favorite.
to Ohio? That's your favorite?
That's it. That's the one. That's the one. You go anywhere in this world, you can find someone from Ohio. And this was a song I wrote when I was away from Ohio. It's got my roots in it. So look, I won't put someone through listening to it, but you know what? if I see you in person, maybe you can get me to
get a couple bars. Okay, I love it. Love it. All right, so kind of when did you? Because I know you ran, right? So was it cross country, track, both?
Yeah.
Is that what you did in high school? And you also swam, right? Like those were the two maybe that stuck out, like after your basketball days. Is that fair? Okay,
that's exactly right. I started swimming when I was 6. I swam until I was 10. I swam at the North Dakota Zone Championships as a 10-year-old. I've got an unusual claim to fame that I had the fastest 10 and under time in the 100 butterfly, probably because no other 10-year-olds wanted to do it at the time. And then came on to running later in 7th, 8th grade through high school. And then I studied at Williams College. It's a small Division III school in Massachusetts. I was a runner for all 4 years that I was there. And then I might be the only person that as a senior in college decided to walk onto the swim team. So I had known some folks who had swam. I had come to some practices, and it's a, multi-hour commitment of time in the pool. I feel like I would, when I would be swimming for these workouts, I was the slowest person in the water for the entire time I was there, but also just was really connected to the element of being a part of a team, the idea of working to just improve yourself, not necessarily competing for, it's more than just getting sort of the external accolade of getting a medal. But what I really found value in was that it was something where because I had not competed for years, I had this sort of oddity that I was getting a best time every single race. Now, the best times were still finishing last in the field. So it's not like I'm out setting records, but every day was better than before. And so, that was a high point of my athletic competition. I've continued to run since, but certainly not at a professional level. And really kind of it's sort of an engine that helps me keep balance when, professionally pursuing other items in the workforce.
Yeah. I mean, I've heard smart people run, so I think you're in the right sport there. NESCAC, right? That's the conference.
New England Sports Athletic Conference. Yeah. That's Duncan Robinson was the claim to fame. He, I don't know how he managed to, spend a year at a Division III school, but I think he tore it up and then, has gone on to what he's gone on to. I was not on that level.
No, for sure. I used to live in Milton, Massachusetts, basically like South Boston. So I used to work at Curry College. Working football. So I know the area and I know how many schools out there. So I guess for our listeners, just kind of talk about being an athlete in that region where there's a lot of, post-high school schools and a lot of people getting an education out there.
It's great. I mean, I was an athlete en route to be a business professional. Sure. And so being an athlete was something that was a part of my identity, but I also knew that this is not something that is going to pay the bills for kind of the duration that I'm working. And this is something that I think is really valuable for folks who are looking to work in the sports industry, is that we encourage, this comes up a lot. We talk to a lot of university students who have either been an athlete in college or been an athlete in high school. And when applying for jobs in the sports industry on Teamwork as a technology platform, we have a headline that is kind of where you start your application. It's the first thing that someone reads when they read about you. And we encourage folks to include your school, where you studied, a professional job that you've had in the past, whether it's an internship or work in your athletic office or, any other role in your school, and then your highest level of athletic achievement. And the reason is because being an athlete comes with all of these intangibles. It doesn't mean that you're going to go be a player. You might be working in sales, you might be working in marketing, you might be working in fan operations or fan engagement. But by being an athlete, you have to have the discipline to manage your schedule, manage academics, and also manage the athletic schedule. You have to have the work ethic to collaborate and be part of a team. There's a ton of time that we were spending with people, and there was friction. I had friction with teammates. It's, I experienced some of the friction of being in a team sport, but even in individual sport, you're really kind of on top of each other and trying to kind of carve your place and have your own place within a team. And being able to manage that takes emotional intelligence. It takes leadership. It also takes followership. So just all kinds of different things that are really valuable to add. And when people are applying for jobs, to note that and really be proud of it, even if you're not looking to pursue the career of being an athlete. For me, those are the things that I really came away with. I mean, I have frequent memories of being tired and cold. And those are kind of things that stand out, but I still look back on it with such, with just such fondness. And, those are some of my closest peers and friends still.
Quick follow with that. So I think October for me is my favorite time in sports as just a fan, right? Basketball starting, hockey starting, the World Series is going on now. Football is kind of in its real groove. What's cool in sports to you? I know it's kind of a broad question, but what's cool in sports to you as you look at it?
God, I mean, look, you're saying all the right things. That's for sure. It's gonna just be yes and EJ will agree with this. I'm gonna speak up for some of the what I think something that really animates me right now. And EJ, we met first time we met was at a career fair with the Las Vegas Aviators. And so there were people that were coming out in Las Vegas to a minor league baseball game. I think that event, I can't remember if it was this one, EJ, but it was the day that the Vegas Golden Knights were on Game 6 of the Stanley Cup. And the entire city of Las Vegas was downtown watching the game. And when we finished this event, walking back to a hotel, it was just people in the street, just, having such an amazing time. There was I'm going to kind of mention something else, MH, but I'll just finish this story. Here's one thing that I think really, really excites me. The Vegas Golden Knights have been in the city for, I don't know how many years, a handful. How many, do you know how many, EJ or MH, how long have they been there?
Is it 8 or is it 7?
Something. 8 or 7.
I think it's 8, yeah.
8 or 7. I was walking back to my hotel, and I remember hearing someone in just kind of full enthusiasm say, I have been waiting for this championship my whole life. My whole life. I was sort of counting, how long has this team been here? This doesn't seem right. But something that I feel like is a great
That's a good one.
That is.
I'm sorry. But no, spot on, right?
Right?
For people that don't get that, and I hate to cut you off, we can jump back into what you were saying too. But that's what I guess my follow-up question was, because you were going to school in the Massachusetts Boston area, they're big on that's Titletown, right?
Yeah.
So what did you feel some of that during the years that you were there, or see some of that with any of the teams that were going on?
Absolutely. I mean, absolutely. I feel like the titles are great. That was when Boston was winning everything. They still win quite a lot. I mean, Cleveland, we got our one, so we're going to be real happy with that. But what's really inspiring, and where I was going with this, is that because sports is growing, it's really exciting. It's really what really lights me up, MH, right now, is how new teams and new leagues are generating this enthusiasm and this sort of deep, rich support that would have been reserved maybe a decade ago for just what you're saying, EJ, for the teams that have 50 plus year histories. I mean, I was one of another teamwork event. It's a real blessing. I keep giving a thumbs up, and then my Zoom camera picks it up. So you're gonna get a lot of these thumbs up bubbles. But it's a real one of the real blessings of the work that we do, teamwork as a platform that powers careers across different teams and leagues and geographies, is that we run events and we get to participate in career events all across the country. And one of the more recent ones was a career event with the New York Liberty women's basketball team in New York City. I mean, just having such a moment. They're a champion now. You're talking about Titletown, EJ, but this was even earlier in the season before they'd won it all. And seeing the enthusiasm for this women's sports team that a decade ago wouldn't have had it or didn't have it is just something that's what really, MH, what really amps me up, is how there's so much growth and how these new teams, women's sports teams, emerging leagues that are kind of showing up from scratch are getting that same rich enthusiasm that the legacy teams who've been here for decades have had in the past.
Man, that's such a great point, man, because, you wonder how some people are fans, like, oh, how are you a fan? You from like Des Moines, right? Like, how did you become a Laker fan? And It's like now with the expansion, there are more teams, more leagues, more things that people can be homegrown with. So that's really awesome.
Mm-hmm.
Want to wrap it up with the background. We're going to jump into more of the kind of career stuff, but just as a lifelong runner, man, like I know you run to stay clarity. MH has always said that, like, we talk to runners and is that runner's high. Are you competing anymore? Like, I know you've run a marathon or two, but have you done an Ironman, or is there another marathon coming up? Like, how do you juggle that? And we had CJ on, was the last marathon runner we had, right, MH?
Oh boy. This is why you pick marathons, because we're in a category of two. You can still, I'm still in the top three. That's what I can note of your guests. I don't know. I'm being facetious here.
There you go. We'll take it, right? Hey, top
second of two is still on the podium, is the way we'll put it. Yeah, I'm absolutely competing. Look, I'm competing to be the best that I can be. I've done 4 marathons. I don't think that, look, I'm not looking for any gold medals, but I'm looking for, I still think that my best time's out there. So that's me kind of shooting my shot in the future. So we'll see if I can get one.
I love that my best time is out there. All right, so we're going to jump into the career. You've talked about it intertwined in just kind of our conversation, which is amazing. But we want to first, I do want to give just a brief kind of caveat of where you started your career, right, in tech. Yeah. And then still, some venture capital stuff, So I don't want to not talk about that. And I think there's an interesting thing to kind of bring back in that because of the tech. But I do want to talk about Teamwork Online. But I did want to just take that moment to acknowledge, the growth and talking about the other patterns, because I'm a non-traditional way that I ended up working in sports. So it's kind of good that you've had that background and can understand that background. And like we kind of said in the beginning, all of that builds to where you kind of currently get to. So.
Yeah, look, it's a blessing to be where to really, teamwork is something that is really special and personal to me. Folks who know teamwork will know that there is a 2-decade and beyond history of the business. The company was started by my mom. So I'm going to kind of blend all of my experiences and where the company has navigated and where we are now is that 3 years ago, it became a really just exciting opportunity and something that I feel real joy in, that I've been able to do work that I think is impactful, that is calling on all of the skills and all of the lessons that I'd learned for a decade of working before this, and also is something that's really personal to me, that, you know, I've seen change and evolve and be kind of something that was at the kitchen table and looked a whole lot different when I was in high school and college and then beyond. So the history of Teamwork, I'll start there, and then I'll fit myself into it. Teamwork is a hiring platform and professional network in the sports industry. So we are in a really exciting spot where we work with 85% of pro sports teams. That's NBA, NFL, MLB, MLS, NHL, some of those big major leagues, but then this long tail as well of minor leagues, emerging leagues, sports agencies, arenas, facilities, technology businesses, hospitality companies, youth sports, and sort of all things that are connected, sporting goods. I could go on. We support 1,500 companies. And in addition to connecting them when they're recruiting talent with industry agnostic job boards, distributing your job, just sort of getting people generally to have this great experience on a career site, we have a network of 7.5 million people who are looking for roles in sports, looking to build careers in sports. So we really give people this edge to have a broad net that's bigger than your one specific team or company, but more narrow than just sort of putting it out into the wind, that you're reaching a network that has a lot of specificity. And the place of, you know, the journey to get to this is something that's really unique. I mean, the starting point is such a, you know, the cold start for that is incredibly difficult. I'm on Buffy. Before it was, her name's Buffy Filippell, before it was cool to be a executive in sports, or before sports had the growth and financial investment that it does now, when leagues were kind of teetering in some ways, but still had promise, she really made this commitment to be a executive recruiter in that space. And she focused on it entirely. She had her own company. It was based out of our basement. She hired executives, senior vice president of sales at a sports team, the president of a handful of sports teams. There's a couple general managers who she placed in her time period. And it was that network through those relationships where, to her credit, rather than just sort of continuing on that one path, she had this insight and really made this intentional push to say, let's create a platform that is not just, you know, one-to-one me helping individuals get senior roles, but is helping people find careers at all levels. And that started with pro teams. The first place where, you know, if you were looking for a job in the NBA or the NFL and went to a team's website and pressed the careers button, the first place where that application could get submitted digitally was Teamwork. Before that, it was an email address. So we were really the first company that took that step. And for a decade plus, that was just really kind of a side project to her continued work of being a consultant and being a recruiter. And here we are, we're talking on a video recording. We're thousands of miles apart. And it's just another example that as technology has continued to expand, as the hiring process has continued to become more digital, that positioning for Teamwork was just all the more important. And so what the company has grown in the ways that we have grown is growing in the depth of how we connect talent with opportunities through technology. Now it's through technology, but there's always a human touch to it. I mean, this is a company that I've got real deep affinity for, and we're not, you know, hiding behind a computer screen, but what really has made Teamwork exciting is that it has blended that really specific kind of deep, intentional personal history with my own background as well. My previous role before this was at an investment fund that was investing and making seed stage investments in consumer technology companies and some B2B companies. And so we were looking at companies that had been, you know, really kind of created. Sometimes it was 6 months, a year, or, you know, a couple years earlier, but we're really laying this foundation to build something that was much bigger. And the tactics and the actual tools and the ways of really engaging in a digital way to build community is something that really stuck with me. And here I am right next to this business that is so personal, that ties so deeply with my own specific and personal interests, and also has this real impact that we're looking to drive. We continue to be proud of the work that we're doing to, have the output of our work be people finding jobs. 200,000 people have found jobs through Teamwork. And so when there's, that opportunity and the opportunity to grow that with some of the skills that I've learned in other places, it was just something that was a real gift and joy. And also, I gotta be real. I think I probably grew up enough from the time that I was in high school, college, and beyond to know that it's a real gift to be able to work with family as opposed to something I'd bristle at. And so the last 3 years have been us really kind of taking the reins and running with it. I've been, it's that journey that led me to meet EJ to kind of speak at some of these events, and also to really lay the foundation of the product that we're building and the relationships that we're trying to build to keep kind of growing that impact.
So stay on par with that, right? And people don't, and I'm talking the relationship part, how important that was for, your mother to build. And even there was, Wise in Cleveland. So I spent time in Ohio and worked with Meredith Gerber, who's, part of the Wise down there. But one of the things that she said when she was winning that award was, she got when the expansion team in Minnesota happened, she got a call because David Stern referred her, right? So talk about how important the relationships are that you go out to these events and that Teamwork is building with these teams to be such a dominant platform, and how important it is for, younger students and people that are looking to get in this career, how important relationships are.
Oh, it's everything, EJ. I mean, it is not either or. We get this question a lot of, should I focus my time on my digital application and having a strong Teamwork profile and having a perfect resume and cover letter? Should I focus time there, or should I be going to events and building relationships? And the key is that they both really feed one another. That by going and meeting people, by having a dialogue, you'll understand what is valued and needed by those individuals. And then you can also build a relationship that's not just a very transactional item of, I'm trying to apply for this job, but is something that lasts longer than that. That is, you are comporting yourself with professionalism. You're showing grace, you're showing interest, curiosity, and that when the right opportunity comes up 2, 3, 6 months from now, that person who you met will think of you first. I mean, that was the story you're referencing, EJ, is a great one. It's a story in which a person who, my mom had recruited was, left an opening, and many months after the fact, she was referred to an entirely new client by the person who lost the employee, who presumably would have every reason to not refer her because
to be pissed, right?
To be upset, but just by kind of acting and having this relationship with dignity and, showing grace and showing interest. That was something that, left an impact. And look, I can say what I see now is that I know I take cues and I take inspiration from my mom, Buffy, for how she continues to have that sort of level of intentionality of really trying to give value first. And at Teamwork, I think that's part of why we're able to, what we hope to do for our partners and then for our students, is give value first. So we're talking with the employers who are hiring on Teamwork in a way that's not kind of specifically mandated or required. We could just sort of ship them the software and then go, sit back. But I think that where you find opportunities and where EJ, we were out in Las Vegas together. We were at we were, right at that one event. It was just so great to learn about the work that you're doing, the work that you're doing for the specific companies you're working for, but also initiatives such as, creating a community around Black in sports here and this podcast. And so having those relationships, I think, unlocks things that wouldn't be there otherwise.
Speaking of unlocking, I mean, you guys are Band-Aid, you're Google, if you're in sports, it's like, hey, check teamwork. You know what I mean? So like, how does that feel for the family that you guys have kind of reached this point of success to this point?
I think so. I mean, look, I appreciate you saying that, MH, but there's always more that we can do. I think we're not resting on, I don't certainly rest on the laurels. In the grand scheme of things, we're a tiny piece, and we always see ourselves as a challenger. I mean, sports, I think, as a category is a challenger to other categories as well. And I think that's what's so great, is that we can really be this enabler that has real kind of thematic alignment with the folks who we're serving in this, in the group as well. I mean, what we offer is an opportunity for people who are looking to pursue a career that aligns with their passion. I mean, so many people, the guests that you've had on here, I've been hearing about, the connection to sports from when folks were just, little kids, or when you were just growing up, or, in all different stages of life. And the opportunity to translate that into a professional career that is not only kind of enough to get by, but is enough to be fulfilling, and where you can see growth and opportunity. And there's opportunities in all directions. I think that's something that's really exciting about serving the sports category. And so, in the grand scheme of things, we're definitely, a small piece of the career puzzle. The more that we can do for this community, that people who are skilled, experienced, and passionate about sports and entertainment, and the big tent that encompasses, I think that's, the more excited that we are.
Love that part. It's cool. Like when, it makes us referring to you as the one words, right? Like, I don't have a tablet, I have an iPad, right? Like, yeah. And it's great to see you humble, but you guys are doing it. And it's great to kind of, that you share that humbleness as you kind of attack and grow. One of the things I did want to ask, and we kind of jumped into it a little bit, how do you, I think two parts, right? One, how do you choose, and maybe this will help our listeners, what events to go to, right? So now more than ever, you're seeing like, you're doing events personally, right? Mm-hmm. We got to run into each other at CCon that happens here in Vegas, which I'm happy that, Vegas finally has its own thing, because where we're going in the sports career. You were just recently, and my LinkedIn feed has shown a lot of people went to the Michigan Sports Conference. So how do you choose? And then maybe how should students or people looking for jobs choose what conferences or events to go to?
Yeah, it's a great question, because there is a lot of noise. And I think that where you can, and we all have limited time. And so,
and budgets,
limited budgets. Here's the first thing I would say. The first thing to start with, especially for people who are building careers in the industry, for students, is to be where your feet are. If you are in the state of Michigan, then that Michigan conference is a great opportunity. If you are in Las Vegas, if you're at UNLV, then CCon is an amazing opportunity. If you were in Utah at the time when I was speaking at the SEAT conference, then that conference is an amazing opportunity. You would have had to bring your sunscreen, but it would still be an amazing opportunity. The first place is to just be where your feet are, because you're going to find that sports as a category is stretching across the country, and it has this national impact, but it's also very local. And so you'll be able in your own community to make connections that could be more impactful than if you tried to sort of jump on a plane and head to the Super Bowl or head to, some of these big marquee events. So that's one, is to just think about where you are and start with that. And I think that there you'll find both teamwork events and student-led conferences, as well as other professional conferences. You'll see that there is there's a reason that these conferences rotate in all different places. And there's a reason that Teamwork tries to host conferences and events in every major city, because we know that people, want to be in their local community. So that's the first place to start. The second is to really think about, as opposed to thinking about the sport that you want to see, that you're a basketball fan or that you're a football fan or that you're a baseball fan, to come at it a different way and think about the function that you want to build, the craft that you really want to be a part of and build expertise in. So that craft could be sales as a craft. I talked to folks who are VPs of sales who have never had a winning team that made the playoffs, but they have success because they built their craft. You can move from team to team, you can move from sport to sport, league to league, but if you build that craft of sales, then you have a real career in front of you. You can have a craft of digital marketing. You can have a craft of technology and entertainment. And when looking at events, I would look at what is sort of the theme and the craft that the event is really leaning in towards and focused on promoting, and make choices about where to sort of allocate. If you're going to travel, allocate your resources from that. So that's point 2. And then the third is just working backwards from where you want to work and where you want to be. Ties a little bit to your local community, but let's say that you really want to work in Las Vegas, that is your aspiration, that you've got a real mission, that you think that sports as a category is set to take off in Las Vegas. You live in Los Angeles or you live in San Francisco. Think about where you want to be and sort of put yourself into that place. And so look at what are events in Las Vegas. Use Teamwork as a resource. We try to link out and share events on our platform that are in different major cities. So use that as sort of the aspiration to be where you are and also where you want to be as well. Those are 3 things that I would say to start. What do you think, EJ? Am I missing anything there that you would add?
No, I think you hit it. Even the plug of using the resource, right? But like finding out, what stuff's going on in your native market is definitely the easiest.
Yeah, absolutely. I absolutely think so. I mean, there's a great, and it's great to see. You get a real good sense of some of these conferences by looking at the organizations that are present. So working backwards from those organizations.
And I was just going to jump on top of that as well, right? Because there's a lot. Teamwork, you guys have supported the nonprofit that I started here, and that we have other chapters, which is Black Sports Professionals.
Mm-hmm.
And if you go into those different chapters, sometimes there's what we've started is there's a scholarship per se that you can apply for that can get you in front of these different people. So I think that's where you were going, but that is definitely another layer, is looking at these organizations and seeing what they have to offer.
And here's something that I think people miss, is that when you're going to an event, if you applied for a job at a specific organization, one, look at what the jobs are that are open. If you're talking with someone, and you're looking to build your career, have an idea of what jobs are open. When you talk with someone who works at the Las Vegas Raiders or who works at the Golden Knights, know exactly what they have available at that time. And better yet, submit an application before the event. And then when you meet someone, you can say, I just applied to this position. I just applied to your digital marketing manager position. I just applied to your customer service associate position. And that way, that conversation is more than, we're meeting each other, we're learning about each other, but there's something that's really actionable that person can then take away and say, that's amazing that you're interested in that. We just had a great discussion about your curiosity and interest. Then they can go talk to the hiring manager, or if it's themselves, then they're right there. But look at the jobs that are open, apply for jobs beforehand. And let's say you meet someone at an event and apply for a job 3 months later. Mention in your cover letter. This is the place where I think people miss this. You are welcome to name drop. MH, and EJ, you'll probably agree with this. Name drop in your cover letter. Mention, I just had this amazing conversation with MH with EJ at the CCon event. I'm so excited to apply for this role because it taught me how your organization has a culture that promotes and supports people to be their authentic self and really grow and thrive in this organization. Great.
No,
then you've got this sort of advocate that can kind of speak to you, and the hiring team knows to go ask for a referral from that person.
Awesome. So since you're talking about advocates, that's, I think, a natural kind of transition into kind of talking about, the diversity aspect. There's so much around diversity that we don't have time to tackle in this one episode. But then I want to speak to is like the Tides report, right? So what people don't know is the Tides report goes in and it ranks how the different professionals do, right? The professional league, excuse me. And it's now doing the college, and Tides is the Institute of Diversity in Sports.
Yeah.
Ethics in sports. Anyway, it's out of Thank you. It's out of University of Central Florida, so you can definitely look up that and see how those are going. And they have their grades, right? So they're doing good in some parts. The parts that we're seeing they're not doing great is the upper management, ownership. Those higher levels, right? Is there any data that you're seeing from the pool of people that you're talking to want to show that they're looking for that, and that maybe that you have that talent? Because I think from just what I've been doing and what MH has been doing, 1, in our professional roles, 2, on this platform, and 3, working with nonprofits, like the BASE program, which is the Raiders group does with diversity, and then Black sports professionals. The main thing they always say is they don't know where the talent is, or they can't find the talent. Right. So I know that was a really long, but I know you know what I'm hitting home at. Just kind of talk to us what your thoughts are, or what data you see as far as the diversity and the opportunities for hiring in those areas.
Yeah, absolutely. And EJ, the work that Black Sports Professionals is doing as a community and as an organization is something that's incredibly impactful on this. And so it is, it's something where we're thrilled as a company, as Teamwork, to be able, and I'm thrilled personally, to be able to work with leaders such as yourself and with others in Black sports professionals who are really creating opportunities and helping catalyze the kind of long-term initiative to create a sports industry and create an upper management all the way on down that is reflective of the industry that that the teams and leagues are serving. You're right. I mean, there is work to do, and there's always work to do. Teamwork has we take it really seriously and look to be, in as many ways as possible, a front door that creates a talent community that promotes diversity and inclusivity, and that enables candidates who are talented, who have skills, drive, and have really the capabilities to succeed, that enables those candidates to really rise to the surface. And so there are some really encouraging statistics that come from it. So each year we track Teamwork. We're sort of operating in the background, and we can see how how organizations are really engaging with diverse talent, and how many diverse individuals are applying for positions. And each year Teamwork welcomes 200,000 new individuals who are diverse by race and ethnicity, and 200,000 individuals that are diverse in their gender. And that sort of outreach initiatives, like what Black Sports Professionals is doing, what HBCUs are doing across the country, what the HBCU Legacy Bowl, a career fair based in New Orleans in February that brings together 30 HBCU programs, students, 1,200 students last year, to then learn about opportunities. Those are creating an opportunity for more diverse individuals to then be in that first position and then thrive and kind of move up from there. So many more pieces to put together and work to do, but there's some sort of signals that I'm proud to be working in this area with.
That's awesome.
Very EJ.
No, and it's great to see, man. And I just, MH, we can jump in if you have any other questions, because we're going to add it onto this platform. But you want to go ahead and jump in those quick hits really quick?
Gotcha, brother. Davis, just kind of some quick yes or no questions for our listeners to get to know you better. Text or call?
Call.
Pancakes or waffles?
Pancakes. Classic.
I feel it. Apple or Android?
Ooh, I have an Apple. They're both great, but yes, I'll go with the Apple.
Both great.
I don't know about both. Cool. Early bird gets the worm or late night grind?
No, I'm all about the early bird. This is, I think, and you know, you start early. You get to you can start early. You can relax at the end of the day when you make it.
I dig it. Breakfast or dinner?
We're sensing a theme here. But I'm look, I'd have breakfast for dinner any day of the week. So
right, I'm switching the theme. Kevin Hart or Cat Williams?
It's a good one. Kevin Hart. I used to be short when I was growing up. I was the shortest kid in my high school when I was in 9th grade. I feel like anyone who can who, has the experience of navigating the world is a short person. You learn some life lessons in it.
Okay.
Actually, I got EJ laughing at that.
Hero or villain?
Oh man, I think I want to be the villain, but look, we're trying to be a hero here, so I'm gonna go with that. I'm from Ohio. We're too friendly to strangers.
All right. Play it safe and go into overtime, or are you gonna risk it and win in regulation?
Win in regulation, absolutely.
I got it. One track that never gets old. Besides your album that you released, one other track that might never gets old to you. What do you run into?
London Days.
Oh man.
Red Dirt.
I used to run to this song. Red Dirt was fun. I love it. EJ, you make me smile. I used to run to this song 1901. I'd do that over and over. It's this French band called Phoenix. If anyone who's listens to indie rock will back me on that.
Got it. I have to check that out. Last one. You Rocky movies, or you about the Creed movies? Where are we at on that?
I love the Creed movies. I lived in Philadelphia. They filmed some of these Creed scenes on the Schuylkill River that I used to go running on. So hey, I wish I could have seen Michael B. Jordan when I was there. Would have been a highlight.
We on the Philly thing. It's funny. We had a live show yesterday, and we were talking about Dwayne Wade's statue. Have you seen?
I've seen it. Yeah.
Okay, and then we talked about Rocky and that statue as well. Do you, as far as in sports, what would be a top statue for you? What do you think? Who's got a good statue? I'm really interested to hear from you.
Wow, gosh. Man, what do you got? What are some statues that really resonate? Well, see, the thing about the Rocky statue that's ridiculous that he's a fictional character.
1000%.
I feel like there's 1,000 boxers that you want to give a statue to
from the area,
from Philadelphia.
So bad. That's so bad, but so true. Davis, you're right on point with that. That's so damn true.
MH, what did you come up with? What statue did you come up with?
I think the Jordan statue in front of United Center, I think is probably iconic. I would probably say that one for sure.
That's true.
That would be my statue.
Nice.
Did you pick one, EJ? Did you have a statue also?
I'll go with the Asia Wilson statue in front of.
Oh, that is a great one.
You can steal any one of those, so we keep it moving.
Yeah.
I'll back you on the Asia Wilson one. That was amazing. I feel like, and I think it speaks to what we were talking about. I mean, how many other WNBA statues are there? I feel like that's where where this is going, where the industry's going, and where enthusiasm is going. So that's where we're rolling.
Absolutely. Is that it, MH?
That's it, brother.
All right. So we're going to jump into the winner's circle. This is where we talk about, with the platform. And it's really for us, I think it's a continuation of the platform, right, that we're talking about tonight. So I guess how I'll start off, and then I'll turn it over to MH, and we'll go back and forth. But what is one tool that you wish people would utilize more in your platform, right? Like, you talked about the events that you post and let people know that there's different events. There's the MVP, that's a different tool that you can purchase, a part of being on. What is one tool that you wish people would use more on Teamwork Online?
I'll give you two, and they're very new. So I'm glad this is for job seekers. One is to ask for recommendations.
I saw that, yeah.
We just talked about people. It's people that are kind of building this network and community, and having, it's one thing to say your own experience, but having your peer, your coach, your teacher, your manager articulate that. It doesn't need to be long. That person doesn't need to spend, write a novel, but just even a few short sentences goes such a long way. And so we see that people who write recommendations have a higher percent, have higher success when they're applying for their job. So
awesome.
Reach out to people, ask for recommendations, include them on your profile. And the next is to add your Teamwork business card to your email signature. This is just a way, if you're a student, that you can really level up the professionalism of any of your outreach. It includes your picture. It includes the details of your headline, who you are, your contact info. And so for executives that are getting hundreds of emails when they meet people at events, being able to see, great, here's this person, here's what they're about in a really concise snapshot that's easy to download and that they can follow up with you on. Those are two that I'd say, your business card and recommendations.
The different levels of access on the platform. Can you speak to those just a little bit?
Yeah. First level is that Teamwork is free and it always will be. So no matter what, there is no barrier. You are not there is no differential access to see jobs, to message, to submit applications, to reach out to, see events, to, understand what roles and what, level of opportunity is happening in the sports industry. So create a profile. It's free. You can set your notifications, learn about jobs that are right for you, apply for ones, and be directed, knowing that because we work with our employer partners, that any job you see on Teamwork is with an employer who has a direct relationship with us. This is a real opportunity. They're really hiring for it. It's not a link that's taking you kind of on some maze. So that's level one. The second level is we have an MVP access tier. And that's a tier that gives you, it is a small subscription. It's an activation fee and then a $5 monthly subscription. And that gives you more data. It's more insight of how many people have applied to jobs. You get instant feedback when your application is being reviewed. And you also get access to a newsletter. You get your profile reviewed and you get extra tips as well. So if you're looking for kind of that quick cycle and more insight and data, that's what MVP access will bring. And then the third, people will know who are Teamwork U partners, is that we work directly with 61 university programs, providing coaching, education. And so if you're one of those partners, make sure that you select if you are a student at one of those university partners, make sure you select your university in when creating your profile, and that'll unlock this mortarboard next to your profile and give you some extra info. That same newsletter that you would get as an MVP access member.
Love it. All right, so I want you to put your venture capitalist hat on a little bit, and we're talking a little tech. Have you heard of Vestibles?
Have I heard of Vestibles?
Yeah, so Vestibles, we actually had the opportunity of bringing one of the co-founders on. It's a sports fintech application, and it's one of a former football player that played with the Cowboys. Not the Cowboys. Help me out here, MH. Is it Oklahoma? Anyway, he was on the show recently, and basically the application is kind of where you can buy stock in players, right? That is one of those things that are just like growing and opening up different resources in tech, right? That outside the box. Where do you see tech going in sports, right? Like we talked about tech earlier. You talked about the stats in tech. Where do you see tech and sports journey going? Are they kind of splitting and diverging?
One, great to hear about innovation that's happening. I mean, there's innovation on multiple fronts. There is consumer innovation, which is things that you're talking about, of innovative financial products, innovative sports betting products. Betting and gaming is one of the fastest growing categories of jobs that we have on Teamwork. We got a number of betting partners, Prize Picks, Bet365, and others. So if you're looking for roles that are connected to sports, but in betting, and also a real partner that's then supporting as a sponsor for teams and leagues. So I think there's one of innovative consumer products that are reaching new segments of fans. That's one. The next is innovative analytics and other services that are supporting both the on-field experience and sort of success on field. These are analytics tools that are making front office choices and GM choices more data driven as opposed to intuition driven. And that applies from, starting with your major sports, football, basketball, baseball, but all the way kind of down the line into emerging categories and others. So there's analytics on the field, and then also analytics in the business categories as well. So we have a number of really exciting partners that are innovating in the way that sponsorship is allocated, that are creating databases for sponsors that then the business teams who work in sports sponsorship will access. We'll use Sponsor United as a go-to resource when looking to say, who am I going to sell this jersey patch to, or who am I going to sell this signage block on our stadium to? Here are kind of the menu of options. So that's two. And then third is I want to call out sort of a category within business services, but it's using technology to create more efficiency and more scale in some of the sort of interesting, media bundles that are happening in sports. So it's using technology to bundle together media assets. And EJ, I know you've seen how ticketing, media, sponsorship can get sort of consolidated with agencies. And I think there's a whole lot of innovation, even if a company is not a pure play tech platform. Some of these companies and agencies that are doing really innovative things around packaging media and distributing media is leading to new eyeballs, new sponsors that you wouldn't have had access to otherwise, and also just a richer ecosystem of sports consumption.
No, that's awesome. And the fact that the tech and the game, are just kind of going up. That's a gem right there. So let's roll us into one of our final segments, man. So we get out of here. We've been having fun, but we call this is the assist. So this is where you get to drop a coaching gem, right? So this is either a quote that you live by, words of inspiration, something that you would tell your younger self, or something you want to tell our audience, but just a quick words to live by, or something, a quote that you want to share with us.
Oh, you said it in my intro, and I was so glad you did. I always say a quote that I say is no zeros. It's from my running days. Came from a team captain when I was a freshman on the team, who said, you can go 4 years without having any 0 days, then you're going to get better between now and then. So that's I think that there's ups and downs in all that we're doing. I certainly have in my own personal journey successes and setbacks, but as long as each day try to do something extra, then you're making progress forward. So I think that's true for me and beyond.
There you go. No 0 days. MH, final thoughts?
Davis, man, just thanks for hanging out with us, man. You guys are doing God's work for sure. Shout out to you guys in the transition of playing sports to get into sports business. You guys have been a lifesaver for me personally. So I know there's a lot of other people that could probably say the same thing. So thank you for all the work you guys are doing.
Appreciate you, MH. Appreciate you, EJ, what you were doing. I'm inspired by it. I'm honored to be here. And it was fun spending time with you.
Awesome. Well, you're definitely someone that could be a regular guest on here. So we got to get you to give us the updates on what's trending, because and you're hearing the closing is one of the things we want to bring the people that are in this business and are doing great work. So our audience knows about what resources and things are out there. So I want to give a big shout out and thanks for you, just because I know you're busy. And I also want to give a personal shout out to your mom, Buffy, as well. for just her relationship and what she's done for myself and others. You guys are just amazing, and what you're doing is amazing. So I want to kind of echo MH's sentiments and just want to thank you again.
Oh, pleasure's all mine. To you, EJ and MH, thank you.
Awesome. So we also want to thank you, the people, for listening. We definitely hope you enjoyed the show. If you enjoyed the show, please share it. That's how the message kind of gets out there. And also, please subscribe to our YouTube channel. As we say all the time, visual representation matters. If you see it, you can be it. Also know that we're on all audio podcast platforms. So even if you say, hey, Alexa, play Black in Sports, I hope it's playing in the background for you right now. But hey, like we always say, please stay safe, practice gratitude, and know we're rooting for you.
Screaming, all us blacks got is sports and entertainment until we even.
Assuming I'm rooting for everybody that's black. Yeah. Yeah. Assuming I'm rooting for everybody that's black. Yo. Look. Assuming I'm rooting for everybody that's black. Spent about 2 racks on handmade new rags. Assuming I'm rooting for everybody that's black. That's everybody from sports to